Hi, I'm Jack Smead, and welcome to my new documentary series, The East Village Chronicles, where I interview friends and neighbors about their experiences in the East Village and how they arrived here. I'm here at the 11th Street Bar, the de facto capital of the East Village since it opened in 1997. This was the favorite seat of Jack Smead, an East Village icon who left us far too soon. Luckily, before Jack passed in 2021, he allowed me to visit him at his nearby apartment for a brief interview about his experiences in the East Village and how he got here. In honor of Jack, the 11th Street Bar has named their happy hour the Jack Smead Happy Hour. Jack's favorite drink was the classic screwdriver. So Jack, here's to you. We miss you.
So you were here then when 11th Street Bar opened.
Yeah.
What was that like when you're living here and you look down there and all of a sudden, hey, you're opening a bar here?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't going to be some crazy-ass punk bar. And that's when I met Brendan O'Reilly, who has since passed. And we became quick friends. And he said, no, it's going to be an Irish bar, traditional Irish bar. And I went, good. And I've been drinking there pretty much ever since. I guess it was 97. That's what the sign says anyhow.
And so that place, that's changed a little bit too. I mean, obviously in the last year since Dan took it, but
Yeah.
How was it through the years?
Well, it kind of started out being a real Irish hipster bar, like the old Irish guys would show up, and then it got to be more of a musicians and artists, but a lot of them have passed on, and well, I used to be able to smoke while you were drinking. There was an ashtray in front of every bar stool, and the talking would get kind of frantic, and the arguments would get good, and everybody would have a swell time, And I don't know, there was about 15 or 20 regulars back then. Just all get together and have at it, so to speak,
Yeah. So kind of like it is now, just different people, different times.
Yeah, different dress, different look, different hyperbole. Well, back in the day, cabbies wouldn't cross Second. If you were coming down here, they would let you off on 2nd Avenue. They would not come east of 2nd Avenue. So if you lived on C or D or A, B, C, D, whatever, first A, B, C, D, yeah, you got let off on 2nd Avenue, maybe. 3rd Avenue, pretty much, more than 2nd, actually. Cabbies would not turn into the neighborhood.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so then you got out and walked through the
You got out and walked with your hand on whatever weapon you could have in your pocket. I'd been stabbed in this building, coming home late at night, chased by young Puerto Ricans.
You got stuck.
Yeah. I've been stabbed, I've been shot. I was shot over on 9th and C, or 10th, 9th and B.
What happened?
In front of the Cristadora. I was grazed. The Cristadora used to be a dumping ground for bodies, a swimming pool in the basement. Yeah, they pull a body out of there that was killed somewhere else or in there once a week.
And that's when the pool store was open, and so they just...
No, it was vacant. Cristadora was totally vacant.
Oh, the whole building was vacant?
Yeah. The corner here used to be called Paradise Alley, and they had the highest murder rate in all of Manhattan on the corner of 11th and A. It was a slum housing, whatever you call it now. And it was like a donut, and they had a courtyard in the middle of the 4 buildings. And generally, if you walked into the courtyard, you didn't come out. Which is now the old age home.
Okay.
After being a parking lot for a while. After Paradise Alley fell down, or they tore it down, I can't remember what happened. Condemned it for sure. Yeah.
When was that, do you think?
Well, that had to be late 70s. This was a cocaine block. There's books written about. There's a book called The Rock. It's about 11th Street between A and B. And people will, well, Christmas Day there'd be a line half a block long of people waiting to get their cocaine from the building across the street, which was a hole in the wall. And you'd stick your $20 in the hole, and the hand would come out with your bag of blow. Yeah. There were gunfights. I've seen people get killed right here.
During the drug times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I think at 11th Street Bar, there's something to do with the coke stuff, right? Isn't there a bag or something on the wall down there?
Well, that was one of my contributions to the art show.
So what is it exactly?
It's the bag that the cocaine came in.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a blow up, the blow bag.
Oh, cool. I'm going to go look at that.
Which, well, it's gone now. I was horrified that they put it where they did. You guys are nuts. It's just advertising.
But most people would connect it anyway.
No, they had no idea what it was. So.
But so it's not at the bar anymore?
Well, the new owners took it down, and it's in the basement somewhere, that particular piece of art. Actually, Roger, the prior owner, wants it in Texas, so I said he could have it if he named his bar the Pony Pack Saloon, wherever in Texas.
So he's back in Texas, Roger? Now?
Yeah.
And Johnny, he's still around somewhere, right? I see him at the bar.
I assume he's still around. I haven't seen him in a long time. But.
Last time I saw him was actually at the bar, I think, for Justin Towns Earl or something.
Oh, yeah, probably so, yeah. Yeah. Well, he said a little eulogy for Brendan,
Right.
The original owner. That might have been the last time, actually. Well, the cops were actually pretty cool. The cars were green and white, green and cream, actually. And they wore double-breasted suits with brass buttons and had their nightsticks, and they kind of knew the people who were living in the block, and more of a caring kind of situation than, stormtrooping the way they are now or seem to be now. I don't want to get in any trouble here, but.
Right.
I've seen my trouble.
I shot Jack in the back.
But tell me about music. You got the CD there. Tell me is that the only CD you've done? Or what's your...
No, there's several CDs, but well, back then there weren't any places to play really rock and roll or folk. The village had some folk places still open. And that's why I just got into, because of my connection with Meredith Monk, I was able to meet a lot of dancers and theater people who were basically playing tapes or records or something to their pieces that they were performing at the time. So I opened my big mouth and I said, hey, you know, I can play. Why don't you have live music instead of, you know, running over there and changing the record? So I did that for quite a while, and that was my living.
Oh,
Yeah.
where was that? Where were you playing?
La Mama, American Theater Lab, Manhattan Theater Club, all over. St. Mark's and the Bowery Church, lots of places.
Oh, that's
I've got pictures,
great. Oh, great. I'd love to see some pictures.
pictures and press, and I was rolling in high cotton for a while there. And then, like I said, Abe Beam came along, and that was the end of it, really. So I started working construction, as most people do. I wasn't going to become a waiter. Wasn't quite my style, so I got into construction.
I can imagine you as a waiter. Would you like fries with that?
No.
And how do you know Meredith Monk?
Oh, well, she'd come through Chicago. I was a student at the Art Institute of Chicago, and she was putting on a relatively large show in the Midwest, and I auditioned and got accepted, and we became pretty quick friends, and toured Minnesota, Wisconsin, doing these shows, and kept in touch. And like I said, one morning, sleeping on a park bench, she walked by after the hotel had fallen down that next morning, and I wound up in Europe.
That's great. Amazing. What about Meredith Monk? Is she still in?
Oh yeah, she's going strong. She just, I think it was last year, she curated, if that's the right word, the Carnegie Hall, the entire season of Carnegie Hall, which is kind of impressive. She just won another major government grant for a couple $100,000 for something, which she's kind of done off and on her whole career. And she's been singing and making record albums. A company out of Germany seems to like her.
So she's still here in the city?
Oh yeah. You don't know her?
I don't know her personally.
I mean, you know her work?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We kind of had our political differences, so kind of strayed apart a little bit. You know. But we were very close friends for quite a while. There was politics got in the way somehow.
That can ruin friendships.
It can. Well, personal politics, actually. It wasn't government politics. It was.
What do you think has changed the most here since you've now been here since the 70s?
Well, everything.
Yeah.
The people, I mean, everything's. When I moved in here, there were bullet holes in the windows. There were gunfights out front. Everything across the street was burned out and vacant. This place, even though it looks like it's seen better days, was a real disaster. And all these walls were full of holes and just trashed, and I figured the cheapest way to do anything was just throw some cement on all of it, which is what I did. And 40 years ago or whatever.
Is that original, that wall sconce?
Yeah, those are original, yeah. This is one of the few apartments that are still basically original in the building, or probably the neighborhood at this point.
Yeah, they changed your windows at one point too, right?
Yeah, unfortunately. Those were nice arches with some nice filigree.
Yeah.
And they were 4/4s too, which was kind of nice. But when the wind blew, they rattled like hell, and sometimes the panes would just come flying out.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Wow. And you've seen several movies filmed here too, right? You've seen
Oh yeah.
The Super.
Yeah. Well, for a while, this was a studio lot for, I forget which company, earlier, before it changed so much, because it fit a certain period of time, and then they could just shoot without really changing a whole lot of stuff, you know. Ragtime was shot here, The Super, Molly Ringwald movie, I forget.
Did you say one time that the trees along here were planted for the movie Ragtime? Is that true?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. They redid the whole street. I mean, the whole street was gravel. We had horses, buggies, carriages.
I have to see it. I still haven't read
It was quite a job. They put fronts on all the buildings. It was massive.
So if I looked at the movie, it probably wouldn't really recognize.
No, you wouldn't.
Okay.
You might recognize something, but they literally built storefronts in front of all the buildings, and like fish stores, or and have a horse standing there.
Yeah.
Well,
It's amazing to see the Super and see what the block looked like.
yeah.
In the 80s.
Well, that building was right across the street.
Yeah.
The burnout. Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's funny to see it because after I watched the movie, just like, oh yeah, there's the steps.
Yeah. Yeah, with the burnout Corvette, I think it was. Yeah. Well, what's his name? Who was the actor?
Joe Pesci.
Joe Pesci. This was a vacant lot here, and that's where they kept the trailers, the makeup trailers, and whatever. So I'd see Pesci every morning, kind of bitching and moaning and going to his trailer. It's funny.
Can you describe the Tompkins Square riots? Were you here when that happened?
Oh yeah.
What was that like?
It was a riot.
A riot. Did it really
No, it was serious.
up here? I mean, it seems like it was.
Not really. It was pretty contained around the park, pretty much. You'd see a little bit of action, people running and whatnot. Actually, I did a pretty funny, stupid thing during the riots. I think I was drunk or high on something, and I ran into a deli over on 1st and 10th Street there, and walked in and grabbed a 12 case of beer and left the store running, because everybody was running. The owner or some people that worked there, I guess, were chasing me, and I ran down. There was a cop car sitting across the street, and I just jumped in the back seat of the cop car and said, "These guys are trying to kill me." So they popped out and stopped them, and I got out the other side of the car and went home.
With the beer?
With the beer. Yeah. Hey, it was a riot. What do you want? So,
Wow. How long did that go on before they kind of closed the park down?
Well, it got kind of bloody, you know. I mean, it got serious. It kind of reminded me of Chicago during the convention, the Democratic Convention riots. It got, well, not as big, but similar in terms of the police versus the public and the brutality that was actually going on. Blood was flowing, you know. It's probably 4 or 5 days, I guess. Yeah.
And then they just closed the park, walled it off, and it was closed for a couple of years, right?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And then later on they cut down all the trees and stuff so they could see through the park. Which that's that map in the 11th Street Bar now.
Those are the trees that were cut down?
Yeah, that was the new look.
Okay. Wow.
So,
I'll have to look at that again.
yeah. Have their sight lines so they could see who was doing what.
Were you here during the blackout too, 2000?
Oh yeah, several.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, you were here for the one in the 70s too.
Oh yeah. Those are always kind of probably the most peaceful times in the city, to be honest with you.
Yes.
Everybody just kind of calmed down for some reason. Became friends.
Yeah. I had a good time in 2003. I went over to the park. They had a big bonfire over there.
Yeah, yeah.
Kids were jumping it with bikes and skateboards and stuff.
Yeah.
They got burned.
Well, the bar just had candles, you know, and stayed open. The bar's essential to the neighborhood, absolutely essential. It's an important meeting place, you know, which a lot of people don't understand, they don't get, you know, so it's how you keep in touch, how you know what's happening around you and around the world, basically, because somebody from every spot in the world comes to a bar eventually, and you find out everything you need to know.
Once again, though the spirit of the 11th Street Bar continues, it's just not the same without Jack Smead here in the corner with his screwdriver. So Jack, from all of us, thanks for the memories.
Time to dress me for the coffin. Time to put those pennies in my eyes. Not a trip we take too often this time. What's that the Sioux say on the plane? It's a good day for the dying. Not a sad day, time to learn your name. Give a smile and stop your crying this time.